Good morning, folks. Welcome to my live stream. My name is Jim, and I used to be a type 2 diabetic. And I love saying that. I used to be a type 2 diabetic, and today I'm going to talk about exactly what I did to reverse my diabetes. I've completely reversed it. I'm in remission from it. My doctor said I don't have to take medications for it anymore. However you want to word it, I don't have it anymore, and I love getting on these live streams and telling people exactly what I do to achieve that. So if that is something that sounds interesting to you, the idea of maybe not being on medications anymore, I'm no longer on any medications, and that's per my doctor. I'm completely unmedicated. I've reversed it. I was a 12.2% A1C. I'm now a 5.1. If that's something that sounds interesting to you, then stick around for this live stream. I've been doing these live streams for about 15 months now, and there are literally like hundreds of people who are now doing this exact same thing and getting healthy. And it's pretty simple. It's all stuff that's pretty readily available in some literature that you can read. You don't have to read it. I've kind of done a lot of that for you, but I'll show you where to find it if you should want to read it. If you want to go and watch lectures, that's a great source of information. So I'll show you where I'm getting all my information from. Joanne, good morning. How are you? Anyway, folks, let me reintroduce myself for the folks that are just now joining this live stream, and then we'll dive right into this. My name is Jim, and I used to be a diabetic, and I love saying that I used to be a diabetic. I'm not a diabetic anymore. I don't have it. I had it like bad. I was a 12.2% A1C. I don't have it anymore. I'm a 5.1%, and I don't take any medications. I was on 2,000 milligrams per day of metformin. That's a max dose. And I was on a 4.5 milligram pen of Trulicity once a week. That's a max dose. I was also, incidentally enough, on 40 milligrams a day of rosuvastatin calcium. That's a max dose for cholesterol, and 50 milligrams a day of losartan. Not a max dose, but not a light dose. And I'm on none of that anymore. None of it whatsoever anymore. Living my best life. My numbers are beautiful. So if that is something that sounds interesting to you, then stick around for this live stream. I'm going to tell you everything that I do. More than that, if that's something that somebody you know or care about could benefit from, then share this live stream with them and let's get the word out. Let's just see as many people as we can see get help. And hopefully just turn the tides of this situation, because so many people feel helpless and hopeless and stuck, and they feel like it's medication after medication, and in the back of your mind you really don't feel like those medications are doing anything. Like, I don't know, or you feel like you're taking a medication but it's going to have a side effect on your kidney, right? And so now you have to take medications for your kidneys, but then that medication has a side effect on your liver, and it's just one after the other, right? So I'm not medicated at all. And I was in some bad place. I was at 12.2% A1C. I had a 459 LDL. I've had two different doctors tell me that was the highest number they've ever seen. So, like, I certainly would say that I know what it's like to be in that helpless or hopeless place. I don't feel that way anymore. And there are a lot of people that are feeling like that now. Okay, so what did I do to reverse my type 2 diabetes? The very first thing that I did was I focused on the problem, and understanding what the problem was really changed everything for me. And the problem is something called insulin resistance. This thing right here behind my head, insulin resistance. Now, what is insulin resistance? Insulin resistance is a, you know what? Yeah, no, we'll go ahead. Insulin resistance is a problem. No, I'm going to stop this. Guys, I'm going to reboot this live stream in just a moment, okay? Come back to me here in just a moment. Oh, actually, no, I'm not. I will keep this going. I'm going to keep this going, but I'm going to disconnect TikTok. Oh, there we go. I'm going to reboot TikTok. Okay, here's the deal, folks. TikTok is playing some funny games with me. They're not getting my algorithm going, so I am just rebooting TikTok, but I'm going to do TikTok live from my phone. the way that it's generally done. So please bear with me a moment while I fire up a live stream on TikTok. Here we go. And let's see. Come on. There we go. I apologize. I just want to get a live stream going. For some reason, TikTok is not pushing my content out. There we go. Oops. Don't need to select anymore. Go with this and this. Okay. And I'm going to have to reintroduce myself for the TikTok followers as they join. So just bear with me just a moment. This is the way it goes behind the scenes, right? Okay. Let's see. I like that. There we go. I like that. I don't like that. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to my live stream. My name is Jim, and I used to be a type 2 diabetic. And I say that I used to be a type 2 diabetic very, very, very intentionally. Daniel, you got the notification because I'm doing it from my phone rather than my laptop. Good morning, Vicky. Folks, welcome to my live stream. My name is Jim, and I used to be a type 2 diabetic. And I say I used to be because I used to be. I don't have it anymore. I've reversed type 2 diabetes. I'm in remission from type 2 diabetes. I don't take medication for type 2 diabetes anymore. However you want to word it, I just don't have type 2 diabetes anymore. And I love doing these live streams and telling people everything that I do to achieve those results. So if that is something that sounds interesting to you, then stick around for this live stream. And I'm going to tell you every single thing that I do. And hopefully we're able to get you to a place where you are able to say the exact same thing. And that would be wonderful, right? Because how many people right now are on like a plethora of different medications that, just don't seem to be doing the job. So if that sounds interesting, then stick around for this live stream. If it's something that somebody you know or care about could benefit from this information, then please share this information with them. Share this live stream with them, and let's help them get healthy as well. And so for the people, I see that the head count coming up on TikTok. We're going to dive right into this in just a moment, but let me go ahead and do another round of introductions for those people that are just now joining my live stream. Folks, my name is Jim, and welcome to my live stream. I used to be a type 2 diabetic, and I love being able to say I used to be. I was a 12.2% A1C. It felt awful. It felt like I was out of control. I felt like I had one foot in the grave. I felt like it was a bit hopeless. Like I had to take these medications for the rest of my life to barely hang on. And it was an awful, hopeless, helpless feeling. I am no longer type 2 diabetic. I have a 5.1% A1C, and I've been completely unmedicated for like 15 months now. If that sounds interesting to you, the idea of potentially coming off of those medications, if that sounds interesting to you, then stick around for this live stream. Knowledge never hurts, right? So if knowledge is key, right? Maybe this helps, maybe it doesn't, but listening doesn't hurt. So stick around for this live stream. And more than anything, if it's something that sounds familiar, sorry, I'm getting notifications on my phone. I wanted to stop that before I get too deep into this. If that is something that sounds interesting, if that is something that you think that somebody you know or care about could benefit from, then invite them to this live stream and let's get them the same knowledge and hopefully help them just the same. So with that being said, what did I do to reverse my type 2 diabetes? Well, the first thing that I did was focused on the root cause, and that is insulin resistance. Now, what is insulin resistance? And you may or may not have heard of insulin resistance. In fact, how many of you have heard of insulin resistance? If you've heard of it, just type heard of. If you have not, then just type never heard of it, right? It's important that we understand what it is because that's the problem. And if we don't understand what the problem is, then how can you possibly beat it? So let's understand what insulin resistance is. Let's start with what is insulin. Vicky has heard of it. Patty has heard of it. How are you, Vicky? Okay, so what is insulin resistance? Well, what is insulin? When we consume a carbohydrate, that looks like a piece of bread or something like that, right? Our body converts that carbohydrate to sugar, glucose. And that glucose goes out to our bloodstream, and that's what our cells use for energy. Now, you would think that the cells would just capture the glucose or just eat the glucose, right? Like anything else. They're just going to eat it. But that doesn't. That's not the way that it works. The cell is locked. The glucose cannot just go into the cell. The cell is locked and it needs a key. That's what insulin is. So your pancreas secretes a hormone called insulin. And one of the jobs of that hormone is to act as a gatekeeper or a key to unlock the cell. Think of this like a Pac-Man game, right? Pac-Man just running around, grabbing all those little dots. That's the glucose. But that's not the way that it works. Pac-Man will be closed. It needs insulin. Now, insulin is a hormone. It's the most active hormone in your body. If you have type 2 diabetes, you have a hormone problem, right? Did you know that that was the most active hormone? So what happens when the cell, so in a perfect world, the cell comes unlocked by the insulin and the glucose goes down, no problem, right? But what happens when the cell stops responding to the insulin? That is insulin resistance. And then what happens, right? So if that's what happens, the glucose or the sugar continues to rise in the bloodstream. By the way, you see Manda in this live stream right now. Manda is my bride, my much better half, my beautiful wife, 26 years almost married. If you should see Manda answering any questions, they are certainly on my behalf. She knows me better than anybody in this world. So definitely, and if you're not giving her a follow, you should. She's better to look at than me. Okay, so with that being said, what happens when the cell stops responding? The glucose does not then go into the cell. The glucose just kind of accumulates in the bloodstream. And we end up with rising blood sugar or rising glucose or hyperglycemia. Now, what tells the pancreas to secrete insulin is blood sugar. So the pancreas begins secreting more and more and more insulin, right? And as the body becomes more and more and more hyperglycemic, well, it's also becoming more and more and more hyperinsulinemic. And that hyperinsulinemia, elevated insulin, that is what's causing the problem. So if you want to reverse the insulin resistance, if you want to create or promote insulin sensitivity, well, let's start by lowering the insulin in your bloodstream. This is all key. My feet was going numb starting eating veggies. Good fruit now. It's much better. Right, Lisa? That's wonderful. Keep on listening. That's called diabetic neuropathy. Diabetic neuropathy, and that's awful. There are a lot of people in this world that suffer from diabetic neuropathy. Okay, so I've talked about what is insulin resistance. What causes insulin resistance is hyperinsulinemia. What does insulin resistance cause? And so far, all I've talked about is type 2 diabetes. But there is so many other things that happen. What happens when your cell doesn't get its proper energy source? This is one thing start to go astray. Thank you, Amanda, giving me gifts. So what happens when the cell doesn't get its energy, right? All sorts of things go wrong. So that problem right there, metabolic syndrome, right? Metabolic dysfunction. This is what we're talking about. What happens when that happens? Is it just type 2 diabetes? Well, no, pre-diabetes would make perfect sense, right? Pre-diabetes is before type 2 diabetes. Well, that's a problem. What if we start thinking of diabetes, pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes as symptoms rather than diseases, chronic and progressive diseases, right? We've all heard chronic and progressive. What if we start thinking of it like a symptom? And instead of throwing multiple medications at the symptom, what if we start dealing with the root cause? Now, what else does the root cause? I want to throw this out. I'm going to do a little bit of an exercise here. I'm going to name off these other conditions. And if I name off something that applies to you or somebody that you know, do me a favor and type the word me. And this is all just an exercise. And really what I'm trying to do is two things. I want to drive engagement. Okay. I want to drive engagement so that you guys know that you can communicate with me on both platforms, by the way, right here, that you can communicate with me and I will respond. Okay. I'm going to answer questions. The other thing I want to do is there are on TikTok 125 people right now. Looks like we got some followers on Facebook and Twitch watching as well. Now, I want to kind of paint a picture of this is a much larger problem. And a lot of the people listening are very quiet by nature, or they are skeptical, or they are one of many different things, and they aren't going to communicate with me. I see you there. Okay. I know that you're there, and I understand your skepticism. Okay. So what I want to do is have everybody else who is okay with communicating with me to play along. If I name something off that applies to you or somebody that you know, do me a favor and type the word me. Okay. And what I'm going to do is go around this image right here. And I understand you can't see all of it, but I'll name them off. If it applies to you or somebody that you know, type the word me. And these are all symptoms, by the way, of that thing, insulin resistance. So stroke. Does stroke apply to you or somebody that you know? Lisa, love these videos. So much free information. Right? Right, Lisa? Yes. Stroke. Does anybody here suffer from stroke, or does somebody they know suffer from it? Ash says me. How about heart disease? Anybody listening to me have heart disease, or do you know somebody who suffers from heart disease? Obesity. In the United States, 74% of Americans are either obese or overweight. That's a huge percentage of the population. We're getting some me's coming in. How about migraine headaches? See, I got migraine headaches as a kid, like 9 years old. I would put myself to bed at like 5 p.m. as a 9-year-old because I just couldn't tolerate the headaches. That's a very, very early indicator of insulin resistance. I had those at 9. And what did I do? I took more ibuprofen. I didn't even know about the problem. I just took ibuprofen to mask the symptom, right? How about dementia? This is one of the ones where somebody do you know, because I doubt if there's anybody who has dementia who's listening to me. So does anybody you know suffer from dementia? How about osteoarthritis or childhood obesity? How about polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, which, by the way, is the #1 cause of infertility in the United States? Quite a few people saying me, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are in the shadows and I'm naming off something, know that you aren't alone. You are not alone. All of these people saying me, you're not alone, okay? How about fatty liver? Cirrhosis of the liver is a top 10 cause of death. At the top of that list is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. How about arthritis or Alzheimer's disease, oftentimes referred to as type 3 diabetes? What happens when we become insulin resistant of the brain? Alzheimer's disease, right? How about erectile dysfunction? There's one. In Colorado, I can't drive anywhere with the radio on without hearing a commercial for the men's center. What if that was caused by insulin resistance? What if you just simply reversed your insulin resistance, and voila, men stop suffering from that? I'm seeing a lot of that. How about sarcopenia? Kind of a whittling away of the muscles, or high blood pressure. Now, I'm expecting a lot of people to type me when I say high blood pressure. It seems like everybody has high blood pressure. And here they come. A lot of people typing me. I'm going to add another question to the high blood pressure. Do you take lisinopril? Lisinopril. If you take lisinopril, type yes. Okay. And here's a little nugget for you. Okay. Lisinopril was derived from snake venom, because snake venom will lower your blood pressure. So let's encapsulate that and give it to people to control their blood pressure. And so if we could understand that that's a poison, right? Or it was derived from a poison, And if we also understand that high blood pressure is caused by this sickness, right? High blood pressure is really just a sign of your being sick. Is the logic to take a sick body and poison it to good health? Think about that, okay? It's a perfect example. Are we thinking that the goal is to take a sick body and poison it to good health? And then finally, how many people have type 2 diabetes? And I'm going to throw in pre-diabetes because it makes perfect sense. A lot of people typing me. We get a wow in there. It's kind of crazy to think about, right? Hubby has diabetes, type 2, pre-diabetes, right? A lot of people typing me. Okay, so I'm going to throw in a couple other ones, and I'm going to go pretty quick with these other ones. So just type me if any of these touch base as well, right? Fibromyalgia, gout, multiple sclerosis. How about the skin tags around your neck or chest area? Those little flaps of skin look like little mushroom mole things. How about that darkening or discoloration of the skin around your neck or armpit area? Some people get it on their inner thighs. That's called acanthosis nigricans, caused by insulin resistance. What about bipolar treatment disorder? What about bipolar treatment disorder? How many people are listening to me right now? And use the word yes for this, okay? Yes or no. You've maybe struggle a little bit with your mental health. And you've often wondered, why can't I get that going right? Why won't it just be normal like everybody else, right? What if there was a connection, a possible connection between your gut and your mental health? There is a doctor, and I won't spend too much time on this. I did a video on this, and I would encourage you to go and watch that video. In fact, watch all of the videos on my feed. They're all going to be very commonly themed to this topic. But there's a doctor named Cynthia Calkin. She is a psychologist out of the Pacific Northwest. Now, Dr. Cynthia Calkin was looking at patients with bipolar treatment disorder. And there is a blood-brain barrier in the blood vessels in your brain. And that blood-brain barrier is really supposed to stop the flow of toxins from the blood vessel to the brain cavity. Okay, we don't want heavy metals and toxins in the brain cavity. It's supposed to be really clean. So your blood vessels have an added layer of protection. It's called the blood-brain barrier. Now, what Dr. Calkin found was that when people had bipolar treatment disorder, more often than not, they also had blood-brain barrier leakage. So that thing was compromised. What she then thought was that what was causing that, and she thought that there was a tie to insulin resistance. And so she started connecting the dots between insulin resistance and blood-brain barrier leakage. And she found that in all cases, that was true. Now, there's a lot of other things that need to be done. This is possible causal link. Her results, she said, pending replication, right? But guess what else? Schizophrenia, they find blood-brain barrier leakage. There are all sorts of things that are associated with blood-brain barrier leakage. And what Dr. Cynthia Calkin is suggesting is that maybe there's a tie between blood-brain barrier leakage and insulin resistance. So if you struggle from that, I will tell you that I did. I had a hard time with my mental clarity. And as I began to get my diabetes under control, guess what? That got better. Now, Dr. Cynthia Calkin, in an effort to test her hypothesis, she gave test patients with bipolar treatment disorder metformin. She attempted to treat bipolar treatment disorder with metformin, and it worked. It worked. And when I did that video, people thought that I was advocating for metformin. I am certainly not advocating for metformin. What that video was supposed to do was show that there's a possible connection between your gut and your mind. And is that believable? Is that believable that we really have kind of two brains in our body? So with that being said, let's dive right into this, okay? What did I do to reverse my insulin resistance? Well, the first thing that I did, first off, let me just, as I get ready to dive into this, know that hyperinsulinemia, elevated insulin, is what is causing the problem. So as I go through this, just know that Everything I talk about really is has to do with insulin lowering techniques. That's the goal, is to lower our insulin. If we stop being hyperinsulinemic, well, that's when we're going to start promoting insulin sensitivity. Okay. So step number one of a 3-step protocol is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting. So for me personally, I eat on a time-based eating schedule. So I don't eat for 16 hours per day. I do eat 2 meals in the remaining 8 hours. Okay. So what does this look like for me personally? So for me personally, at 8 p.m., I'm done eating for the day. I don't eat again until noon the following day. That's 16 hours. Now, breaking that down a little further, what that really looks like is I've had dinner. I don't really need any more food. I'm full. I've had enough food for the day. I don't need more food. So I'm done eating for the night at 8 p.m. Hard no more at 8 p.m. If you are eating after 8 p.m., I would ask you, is that out of habit? Is that out of boredom? Or is it truly because you're hungry? If you're hungry, eat more food at dinner. But if it's out of boredom and out of habit, well, then that's a problem. And you probably already know that, right? Now, when I wake up in the morning, as I have right now, it is 8:57 in the morning here in Denver, Colorado. I'm in a fast. Your natural inkling is to go towards breakfast, but really, we didn't, as a people, we didn't always have breakfast. In fact, in 1944, General Foods, which was founded by Charles William Post, Post Foods, they were trying to sell more of their grape nuts cereal, and they started a campaign called "Eat a Better Breakfast, Do a Better Job." 1944. They were trying to sell more grape nut cereal, and it wasn't long before that "Eat a Better Breakfast, Do a Better Job" started sounding a lot like breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And if we really look back on our history, didn't we kind of make a turning point health-wise around the 50s? Right? That was when we said, hey, stop eating butter, start eating margarine. That was an awful decision, right? And by the early 80s, in fact, 1980, we changed the nutritional guidelines and said, you know what? You should have 6 to 11 servings of carbohydrates per day, and stop eating high-fat foods. They're clogging your arteries, right? So around 1980, we jumped over to a big push on starchy breakfasts, toasts, hash browns, cereal, oatmeal. Start your day off with carbohydrates and spike your glucose. When you spike your glucose, what happens to your insulin? Well, you spike your insulin. And so right out the gate, first thing in the morning, we wake up as a society and we spike our glucose and then spike our insulin. Now, if you are insulin resistant, it may take 6 or more hours for your insulin levels to come down. But do we ever give our body 6 hours between 2 meals? No, because we graze all day long. We're taught to have like 8 meals per day now, right? Just kind of graze all day long. In fact, if you are a type 2 diabetic listening to me, you've probably been told by your dietitian to have a healthy breakfast, 30 to 60 carbs, a healthy snack up to 15 carbs, a healthy lunch, 30 to 60 carbs, another healthy snack up to 15 carbs, and then a healthy dinner, 30 to 60 carbs. How many type 2 diabetics are listening to me that have heard that one right there? I have to have hit something on the button right there, right? Somebody's heard this. Now, what are you doing? If you maxed that out, you would be at 210 carbs per day. And if you understand that as a type 2 diabetic, you have an intolerance towards carbohydrates, does it make sense to give yourself 200 of them, 210 in a day? Does that make sense? And really, as you've done that plan, right? As you've done that plan, have you noticed your continuous glucose monitor or your blood sugars? Have they really come down, or are you still climbing up? What are we doing? So you wake up in the morning, you have a cup of, maybe if you're a diabetic, you don't do this, but to the non-diabetics that are listening to me, maybe you do this. You wake up and you have a cup of coffee with sugar in it. I heard something the other day, and I haven't validated it yet, but I think it's fascinating, and I don't know that I don't believe it. So that being said, I have not fact-checked this one thing, and I usually talk fact in my live streams. But it takes 1 teaspoon of sugar to run your entire body. You've got in your blood, you've got the equivalent of 1 teaspoon of sugar. How many tablespoons do we put in our coffee in the morning? And so the first thing we do is spike our glucose. And then what do? We go over and we grab a piece of starchy toast. Maybe we put some sugary jam over the top of that. Maybe we go through the burger place. I used to love the sausage McMuffin with egg, and then the little, I think that's called a hash brown, but that's not really a hash brown like I've ever seen before, right? And what do? Wash it down with a glass of orange juice, sugar water. Maybe you take the healthy route and do orange juice and a banana, sugar water, wash down with a nice tropical fruit. And then what do? Mid-morning, we're taught to have a healthy snack, so we have a granola bar. Now, every time we eat, our glucose is kind of spiking, right? It's going up and down, and our insulin is responding. Now, again, your glucose might come down relatively quickly, but what is your insulin doing? It's staying up there. It's staying elevated. And then we get to lunch, and we've been conditioned to think that Subway is the healthy solution, right? Have a loaf of bread for lunch. Have an entire loaf of bread for lunch and get some potato chips and wash it down with a soda. That is a healthy lunch. I mean, come on. What have we done right there? More glucose, more insulin. And then how many people are listening to me right now that mid-afternoon are just completely exhausted? Trying to read this comment here. Trying to keep you just sick enough to make money, but not lose a lifetime customer. Trying to keep you just sick. Yes. I got you. They're just trying to keep you just sick enough to keep a lifetime customer, right? We're exhausted mid-afternoon. You're like, man, I could use a nap right now. I'm gassed. I could use a nap, right? And so what do? We turn to good old trusty coffee with sugar, maybe a soda, maybe a Mountain Dew. Goodness, right? Let's think about that. Or for me personally, I used to turn to a bag of chips and maybe a cup of coffee. More glucose, more insulin, more problem. And then we get home for dinner, and what do you have at dinner? Maybe you don't do a responsible dinner. Maybe you go order pizza or something like that, right? You take the family out for Mexican food, lots of energy drinks, right, Ash? Oh my goodness, energy drinks. I've never even thought about saying that in a live stream, but so true. Go out for Mexican, and what's Mexican food? Is a boatload of white rice with tortillas, right? Or maybe you do pizza or something like that. Here, my wife and I, we try to do home cooked meals. We always had mashed potatoes because we thought they were healthy, right? Now, at the end of the day, how many people are listening to me right now? What are my products? I'm not talking about any products at all. I'm talking about intermittent fasting. At the end of the day, how many people are listening to me right now treat themselves to a cookie or a scoop of ice cream or a little candy bar, a chocolate mint or something like that, because it's been a long day. You've done the right thing. You've been working hard. You're trying to do this new diet. I just want one little treat at the end of the day. So many people say me, just like that, right? So easy. What I've just done, currently putting ingredients for white chicken chili in the crock pot right now, fiber and protein. 1 Dove chocolate after dinner, right? I love the honesty from you all. I love the honesty. That's what's going to be. If you're not honest with yourself, you're never going to get healthy, right? You gotta make this mind switch of, okay, I gotta stop this train. What did I just illustrate was a way for us to wake up in the morning and spike our glucose, which in turn would spike our insulin. And we're going to do that all day long, right? From dawn until dusk, we do that. Now, what have you done to your insulin? Your insulin has been in that hyperinsulinemic state all day long. Now, if you were a relatively healthy person and you did this once in a while, kind of it's not the end of the world. But truthfully, be honest with yourselves. How long have you been doing that? Did you start that last week? Did you start that last month? Did you start that last year? right? Did you start that last decade? Did you start it in the 90s? Did you start it in the 80s? When did you start doing that? And I would argue that this is probably a decades old problem. When did you start getting the migraine headaches? When did you start getting the skin tags? When did you start getting the symptoms that you were doing something wrong? And instead of doing something about the root cause at that point, you went to the dermatologist and had them take off the symptom. Get rid of these skin tags. They're annoying. Dermatologists like, sure, I'll take $800, wipe them out, and guess what? A year later they come back. Or you take ibuprofen for the headache, right? Or you take losartan for the blood pressure, but nothing ever, you never dealt with the root cause. So when I say intermittent fasting, 16 and 8, time-based eating, what am I doing is I'm pumping the brakes on all that food. And if we can just pump the brakes a little bit on the food, we can start to lower our glucose. If we can lower our glucose, then of course we're going to lower our insulin. And remember, this entire conversation is an insulin lowering strategy call. That's what we're trying to do, is lower our insulin. So if we simply skip breakfast, voila, right? I hope it's making sense. Now, what happens when you are in a fasted state? Are you starving? No, you're not starving at all. You have a fuel, an alternative fuel source. We got what, 90? Is that? I can't tell the number. I've got that thing in the way. Well, 90, 100 people. We got a number of people over here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm putting this question out here. What is an alternative fuel source that every human has? Can anybody tell me what an alternative fuel source that you have built into you is? How are you, Brenda? Anybody? We have an alternative. We don't have to just use glucose. There is an alternative. Everyone says black coffee is fine for fasting, but I do wonder if that's really true. Absolutely, ENC. Yes, I'm going to go into detail about that. Anybody want to comment on that? Does anybody want to take a guess at what our alternative fuel source is? Anybody? It got really quiet on me. Did the comment section just go out? I see Cynthia followed me. Thank you for the follow, Cynthia. It's fat, guys. Stay engaged with me. Don't disengage. Stay engaged with me. It's fat. We've got a lot of fat. Okay? All of that fat is just added calories that we can use while we are. How are you, Andy? How are you, buddy? That's an added fuel source. That's something we can use to power our body. That is what I said. Yeah. So, oh, I didn't see it. If you said that, I'm sorry. It must have blocked your comment. I'm good for a month, no food. Actually, interestingly enough, Lisa, I want to touch on that. I'm going to go to my TikTok. Bear with me a moment. I'm going to go to my TikTok. I'm bringing up my phone right now, or my TikTok account right now. Okay, I apologize. Let's go like this. Let's go like this. Go over to my TikTok profile, and I want to, let me see. Before I do this, trivia question. What is the longest medically supervised fast in history? What's up, Dennis? How are you, brother? What is the longest medically supervised fast on record? Can you just give me a number? Give me a number, folks. What do you think is the longest medically supervised fast in recorded history? Dennis, 1 hour. 380 says Henry Cook. 16 days says Hillary. 45 days, 7 days, 21 days, 30 days, 180, 37. Dennis is a year. 32 days. Okay. We're getting pretty close here. We're getting pretty close. I'm going to play you a video that's on my TikTok feed. And if you aren't on my TikTok, by the way, give me a follow on TikTok. And when we're done with this live stream, go watch my videos. How crazy is that? 382 days. Did anybody have that answer? Anybody at all guess that? 382 days. Okay, so okay, let's see. And I'm sorry, Twitch, I just realized I never actually shared that screen, but I believe you heard it. 382 days. If you didn't hear it, 382 days is the longest recorded medically supervised fast. So what I'm talking about is I'm going to suggest that you can, in fact, skip breakfast and you'll be just fine. You'll make it through. You'll make it all the way through breakfast to lunch. Okay. Now, when you are fasting and your glucose levels drop, your body is going to switch over to using fat. It is, what is it? April 27th. We're almost into May. It's a rainy day here in Colorado. This is actually awful weather the last couple of days. It's dumping rain for days. But we're almost into summer. We're ready to get into swimsuits. Swimsuit season is upon us. It's coming up on us pretty quick. And most of us would say we probably no, have your black coffee in the morning. Somebody asked, is it black coffee? Black coffee is wonderful. How many of us that are listening, we got what, 70 people-ish watching this live on TikTok. We got a number on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. How many of us want to drop some of that belly fat? They always say it burns calories from muscles first. No. No. You are, we're dropping, we're burning fat. We got a little bit of fat we want to move, right? Dr. Mark Mattson is a neuroscientist out of Johns Hopkins Medical University. Dr. Mark Mattson has been studying intermittent fasting for more than 25 years. Now, Dr. Mattson would suggest that at about 12 to 14 hours, our bodies metabolically switch their fuel source from glucose over to fat. We start using fat for our fuel. And so if you want to see that stuff just kind of melt away, use it for a fuel source. And that happens at 12 to 14 hours. So go and you say, all right, I made it to 12 hours. I'm done with my fast. That's right when you switch over to using the fat. Okay. Go longer than that. It doesn't do any good to say, yeah, 12 hours, boom, right back to glucose. So give yourself 16 hours. At 16 hours, you're most likely there, and extending it even further. You're just using that. You're not starving. Your body is intelligent. Your body is brilliant. Actually, your body is so incredible. We haven't even begun to touch the capabilities of what our brains can do, right? Our bodies know how to regulate themselves without you telling it what to do. It just does it. Your body is not starving. It's using that added fuel source. You want to see that thing melt away? Use it for fuel, okay? Her doing 3-day fasting helps reset your cells and gets rid of dead old cells. Yeah, so BU, great comment. It's called autophagy. And yes, and typically autophagy kicks in around 24 hours. You want to get rid of those bad cells, those dead cells, get rid of them, have your body turn on them. And that happens at about 24 hours. Okay, so who is fast 2 days a week? There you go. I do some extended fasts. In fact, I'll be doing one this coming week. My wife is having a procedure done, and she's decided she's going to do an extended fast. So I'm going to join her. So it'll be a 3 or 4 day fast. I don't know that she's totally decided yet, but I'm going to do it. Why not? So with that in mind, is there any questions about intermittent fasting? Step 1 of the protocol is intermittent fasting. Anybody have any questions, or are we ready for the second step of the protocol? The second step of the protocol, if you're ready, then type ready. Let's just go there. How about if you're ready, then type ready. Let's see. Welcome new followers on YouTube. Okay, we're ready. Okay. Who's heard of yerba mate tea? You know what? Let's back this train up a little bit. Who has heard of GLP-1? If you've heard of GLP-1, say I have. If you have not heard of GLP-1, say no. Just type no. That means you have not heard of it. If you've heard of it, say heard of it. No. Okay. I have. No. Okay. To all the people that are saying no, have you ever heard of Ozempic or Mounjaro or Zepbound or Wegovy or Trulicity or Saxenda or Rybelsus. Okay. These are all, they're commonly referred to as GLP-1s, but really what they are is GLP-1 receptor agonists. So your body produces an incretin hormone called glucagon-like peptide 1, GLP-1. And what we know about GLP-1 is that when GLP-1 levels in your body are elevated, glucose and insulin levels are suppressed. When GLP-1 levels are elevated, well, the fat cell shrinks. When GLP-1 levels are elevated, people feel more satiated. They don't feel like they're as hungry. It's an appetite suppressant. When GLP-1 levels are elevated, the stomach dumping slows, right? And so if you are a sick person, you've got some gut issues, your stomach might be dumping in an hour, right? And it needs to be 4 to 6 hours. Well, those GLP-1 receptor agonists, things like Ozempic, Mounjaro, those, what they are doing, they're a receptor agonist. They're kind of agitating your body to produce more GLP-1, right? They're making your body produce more of something that it already makes. Now, what really in nature causes GLP-1 production? Food, the types of foods that we eat. Why aren't we producing our own GLP-1? Why did we just stop? Because of the types of foods that we're eating, the highly processed foods, right? And so the type of food, we're not producing as much GLP-1. There's all sorts of things going astray because of. So that class of medications, they seem like this wonder drug. Really what they're doing is just getting your body to do something that it's always historically done on its own, but because of our current environment, the types of things that we're eating, it's not. Okay, so there is a polyphenol, right? There's the big word, right? Polyphenol. Polyphenols are naturally occurring. They're in just about everything you can eat. Now, there is a particular polyphenol called chlorogenic acid. Now, chlorogenic acid can be found in certain fruits, certain vegetables, certain nuts, certain seeds, green tea, black tea, coffee, yerba mate tea. Now, black coffee. I've seen a lot of people asking about black coffee. Is that okay? Absolutely. So chlorogenic acid in nature is most abundant in a green coffee bean. So coffee, wonderful. Coffee is a great source for chlorogenic acid. Now, chlorogenic acid is a great way to stimulate your body's own GLP-1 productions. And you're like, probably, whatever, that's not right. But wait, how many apples do you eat in a day? Apples are a great source for chlorogenic acid. How many pears do you eat in a day? How much yerba mate tea do you drink? How many vegetables do you eat? Do you honestly eat that many chia seeds? These are great sources for chlorogenic acid. And throughout mankind, there are things that have been eaten pretty regularly, but right now we don't eat them. Mushroom coffee, reishi. Yes, I've actually got some reishi coffee right here. So we understand there are ways to naturally increase your chlorogenic acid. I want to talk about something real quick. Let's see. I'm going to share this screen with my viewers first. Let's go here. There. Okay. So here we go. This is Stanford Medicine. It is med.stanford.edu. Okay. This is Dr. Andrew Huberman. Has anybody heard of this guy before? This is his profile on Stanford Medicine. I think we can all say that you don't get into Stanford Medicine without being intelligent, right? He is an associate professor of neurobiology and, by courtesy of, psychiatry and behavioral sciences. Andrew Huberman, Dr. Andrew Huberman. Now, why am I talking about him? Let's just talk about this real quick. He received his bachelor's from the University of Cal Santa Barbara, his master's from the University of Cal Berkeley, his PhD from Cal Davis, his postdoctorate came from Stanford. Pretty smart guy, pretty smart cookie, right? So let's talk about Andrew Huberman. I'm going to go play this video. This is Dr. Andrew Huberman talking about yerba mate and
a guy down in South America was looking at Gila monsters, those really scary things, and he realized they don't have to eat very often. I wonder if they're hungry all the time or not. Turns out it takes their blood, isolates a peptide, which turns out to be GLP-1, puts it into other animals, and realizes it suppresses appetite. Amazing, right? Like this is what I love about biology. Some dude who studies Gila monsters. Turns out humans make GLP-1. GLP-1 is stimulated by things like yerba mate tea. Certain other compounds, plant compounds, stimulate its release. But what does it do in the hypothalamus? It suppresses hunger by way of, there's a particular brain arcuate pathway, blah, blah, blah. But it also affects the mechanosensors of the gut so that you feel like your gut's full. Like it's almost like you're getting like a pharmacologic stapled stomach, right? So when people take a drug that mimics GLP-1, their brain is like, well, I'm not as hungry, and their stomach feels full even though it's empty.
So how many people think that is interesting, right? Is that interesting? Anybody just learn from a freaking neurobiologist that yerba mate tea can cause your body to produce more GLP-1? That's powerful. Now I want to show another doctor. This doctor is Dr. Ben Bikman. Okay. Now, Dr. Ben Bikman, this is Dr. Ben Bikman's profile on BYU's website, Brigham Young University. It is byu.edu. And Dr. Ben Bikman is a professor of cell biology and physiology. Yes, Ozempic does. That's what it does. So Dr. Ben Bikman studies cell biology, or he's a professor of cell biology and physiology. In fact, if you go to his research interests, let me know who would be interested in this. The focus of my lab, the laboratory of obesity and metabolism. How many people are interested in that? The laboratory of obesity and metabolism. Would you be interested in his work? Yes or no? Is twofold. First, we aim to identify the molecular mechanisms that explain the increased risk of disease that accompanies weight gain, with particular emphasis on the etiology of insulin resistance and disrupted mitochondrial function. This entire conversation has been about insulin resistance, right? Now, you will see he too is very well educated. Professional citizenship, courses taught. These are all the classes that he's taught. When people want to learn about insulin resistance, they go to this guy and he teaches them. That's what he does, okay? Now, if you look for his publications, he's been published more than 30 times on the topic. If you go to Google and just Google Dr. Ben Bikman insulin resistance, you'll get about 264,000 results. Now, Dr. Ben Bikman has a website. It's called insuliniq.com, okay? Insuliniq.com, and you'll see Dr. Ben Bikman, professor, author, researcher, and metabolic scientist. If you're not a member of this website, you should be. If you're listening to me right now, you're probably sick, and this website will benefit you. He's got a book. It's called Why We Get Sick. I always point out, this is my book, Why We Get Sick. It's a great book. It is a great place to learn. Now, if you scroll down just a little further, you will see that image that I started my live stream with. That's where I got it from, was Dr. Ben Bikman's website. Now, what I want to do is I want to play a video of Dr. Ben Bikman talking about a particular product that is a, let me see. Here we go. This is Dr. Ben Bikman talking about a yerba mate extract, a particular supplement that people are drinking and getting amazing benefits from. So here we go. This is Bikman.
Be sharing at a meeting in March in Las Vegas is that this yerba mate supplement called Unimate also increases GLP-1. We found in this experiment we did, the GLP-1 levels went up by about 70% in the fasted states, which is pretty considerable.
By about, let me play that again.
70% in a fasted state went up by be sharing at a meeting in March in Las Vegas is that this yerba mate supplement called Unimate also increases GLP-1. We found in this experiment we did, the GLP-1 levels went up by about 70% in the fasted states, which is
70% in a fasted state. That is from the world's leading metabolic scientist talking about a product that increases GLP-1 production by 70%. The same yerba mate that Dr. Huberman was talking about, Dr. Ben Bickman is talking about just the same. So there is a product out there that will do this incredibly efficiently, incredibly well, no side effects, plant-based, doesn't give you the jitters, just makes you feel good and does wonderful things to your body. So step 2 of the 3-step protocol, folks, is consuming more chlorogenic acid. Now, you can get chlorogenic acid through certain fruits, certain vegetables, certain nuts, certain seeds, certain green teas, black teas. It is very abundant in yerba mate tea, as well as black coffee. Don't add your sugar to your coffee. You're just ruining something that's good. Where can you get that stuff? I will give the place, I'll give the name away at the end of the live stream. I'm getting ready to start step 3 of the protocol. And what I found, here's the deal. What I found is when I give away the name, people jump out of my live stream and they go and Google it, find out it's exactly what I said it was. And then they come back in, but they missed step 3. We're getting ready to start step 3. I think we got a pretty good pace going right now. So we'll be there in like 10 minutes. So stick around for, okay, I hope that's fair. So step 3 of the protocol, guys, is consuming more chlorogenic acid. Now, how many people are listening to me right now that maybe have a cholesterol problem? You're on a cholesterol lowering medication, something like Lipitor or Crestor or Zocor, or maybe atorvastatin or rosuvastatin or simvastatin, fluvastatin, pravastatin. How many people are listening to me right now that are on one of those? I see already some people typing me. Okay. And YouTube is pretty quiet. Twitch is pretty quiet. I see you listening. Go ahead and chime in. I will put your comment up on the, I will put your comment up. You have half the stuff on the graph, right? So quite a few people saying me. Of the people that are out there that are on those statins, just give me a yes or no to this question. Did you know that there is a growing body of evidence that suggests that those statins are causing diabetes? Did you know that? Or better yet, causing insulin resistance? Did you know that? Yes or no? And what if I showed you proof? Would you be interested in some proof that suggests that they are causing diabetes? Just say interested if you're interested in that level of proof. What if there was the glycemic index? The glycemic index is a, well, let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and share this. Bear with me. Let's see. What is the glycemic index? So this is from, oops, I didn't flip my camera around. This is from the Mayo Clinic, mayoclinic.org, okay? And this is just a write-up on what the glycemic index is. So the glycemic index, wow. The glycemic index ranks food on a scale from 0 to 100. The low end of the scale has foods that have little effect on blood sugar levels. The high end of the scale has foods with a big effect on blood sugar levels. Glycemic index, okay? So we want to generally avoid foods that are high, things that are 100. We want to gravitate towards foods that are low, closer to that 0, right? Well, a good example of a 100 is white bread. We eat that all of the time, right? White bread is a 100 on the glycemic index. If you're looking for examples of what foods are high in the glycemic index, the Mayo Clinic says white rice, white bread, and potatoes. I would argue that those are staples in our diet, right? Low foods are green vegetables, most fruits, raw carrots, kidney beans, chickpeas, and lentils. We probably don't eat enough of those. We probably eat entirely too much of those, right? So with that being said, go to Google and ask Google, who is the home of the glycemic index? And Google will tell you the International Glycemic Index database and website are led by Professor Jenny Brand-Miller at the University of Sydney, Australia. I want to do something I've never really done before, but I'm going to type in Jenny Brand-Miller. And let's just see what this pops up. Okay, so she's an Australian nutritionist, University of Sydney, Professor Emerita Jenny Brand-Miller. She's got a Wikipedia page, right? But she is quite the person. Now, the reason I bring this up is if we go to the glycemicindex.com and hit the About page, go to glycemicindex.com and hit the About page, it will immediately talk about her. She, Professor Jenny Brand-Miller, an internationally recognized authority on carbohydrates and the glycemic index with over 250 scientific publications. She's been published more than 250 times. She is an absolute powerhouse in this conversation. Well, guess what? She studied an all-natural plant-based product that lowers blood glucose. It's been shown to lower blood glucose. All natural, plant-based, no side effects. Okay, let's talk about the statin medication side of things. Here is some proof. Let's go to the PDR. Where is the PDR? Okay, this is the prescriber's digital reference, pdr.net. Okay, go to pdr.net and you can put in certain medications. This is where your doctors go to find out common information about commonly prescribed medications, like your Lipitor. You hit search now and then scroll down and it will give you the results of the search. Lipitor, atorvastatin calcium. If you click that, you scroll down, look at the drug summary, scroll down again to adverse reactions, and number one on the moderate adverse reactions is diabetes mellitus. Number one, moderate adverse reaction for Lipitor. I told you I was going to prove it to you, right? Let's go to Crestor. Search. And we'll come down here. That is rosuvastatin calcium. We're going to hit the summary and we'll scroll down to the adverse reactions, your moderate adverse reaction. There you go. Are you shocked? Yes or no? How many people are a little bit shook by this? What if we went to the National Institutes for Health, PubMed? This is PubMed Central. And statins and the risk of type 2 diabetes. What is the mechanism and clinical implications? Okay, this was done in September of last year. This is not that old. Now, they were looking, does this, in fact, do statins cause type 2 diabetes? Well, in a meta-analysis of 15 observational studies, the risk of incident type 2 diabetes was 55%. In 4 individual studies, the risk of incident type 2 diabetes was from 36 to 48%. And in the U.S. veteran study, 21 to 22% for low and medium potency statins, and 34% for high potency statins like simvastatin, atorvastatin, and rosuvastatin. We have proof that statin medications are causing diabetes. And if you want a little more proof, this one right here was done in, let's see, July of last year. And this one is assessing the link between statins and insulin intolerance. This is a systematic review that looked at nearly 47 million participants. The findings suggest that the use of statins is associated with a decrease in insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance. Again, more proof that statin medications are causing the insulin resistance. And if they can make you insulin resistant, if they can take a healthy person and make them insulin resistant, well, what else can they prescribe to you? Why is that image not coming up? Okay, we'll do it this way. Share this tab instead. Look at all the things that they can prescribe to you if you are insulin resistant. So are you shocked by that? Yes or no? Now, if you go over to Google and ask Google, what is the top heart hospital in the United States? It will tell you the Cleveland Clinic. Now, why do I bring up the Cleveland Clinic? They studied an all-natural, plant-based product, fiber and multivitamin combination therapy. They studied a fiber supplement, guys. That's all it is, a fiber supplement. And they would conclude such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. Boom. The Cleveland Clinic, by the way, there is your publication information. Cleveland Clinic, from the Preventative Cardiology section of the Cleveland Clinic, 2001, more than 20 years ago, the Cleveland Clinic was telling us that there was another alternative. But I would argue that none of us listened to them, right? Now, let's go over and talk about Dr. Jenny Brand Miller while at the Department of Biochemistry, School of Molecular Bioscience. I mean, goodness, that's a lot. She studied white bread, white rice, mashed potatoes, and found out that it lowered the glycemic as well as the insulin index for all of them. She studied it a second time and found that it reduced blood glucose levels by 20 to 28%. So, what if I was to tell you the world's leading metabolic scientist, Dr. Ben Bikman himself, was the director of the scientific advisory board for those products? Would you be interested in them? There is clinical validation. There is scientific validation. There is social validation. Would you be interested in the tea and the fiber supplement? All natural. Yes or no? Type interested if you are or are not. Got pretty dang quiet on me. I don't see anybody typing at all. Yes, you'd be interested. Ash is interested. Rhea Lewis, interested. Okay. All right. So the two products come together in a kit. The company gives you a 90-day money-back guarantee. If you are not satisfied with your results, if after 90 days of using the product consistently, you aren't happy, you ask them for your money back. They will give it all back. What the company does is they suggest that if you use it consistently, you use it as it's supposed to be used, which is pretty simple. You fast in the morning, you drink a tea. When you're done with the tea, you drink another tea. When you eat your heaviest meal, you drink the fiber right in front of it, okay? That's the protocol. If you do that, they are suggesting that you're going to see a reduction in your blood glucose, you're going to see a reduction in your A1C, your cholesterol, of your triglycerides, your HDL is going to go up, your LDL is going to come down. They're saying your blood pressure is going to come down. And if it doesn't, ask for a refund. If you're not satisfied at the end of this, ask for a refund. Kind of no-brainer, right? If you like the information that I give, then you have to use the link in my bio to get me as a coach. If you use the link in my bio, you would get me as a coach. That bio, let me show you here real quick. I'm going to go to my TikTok page. And this is, of course, on a laptop, so it's not quite the same. But if you know how to get to my home page, you will see a link called Linktree/The Healthy Pitmaster. If you click that, the very first link in there is the Feel Great system. You're using my wife and I's referral code to get a lifetime discount to the manufacturer. That is a pretty typical online checkout system. That buy now. If you scroll down, you'll see the products. Unimate and Balance. Balance is the fiber. Unimate is the tea. You want to hit the learn more. You get more information about it, what the ingredients are. If you want to scroll down a little further, you can hit science. And you can click on the science team. If you click on the science team, this is unicityscience.org, by the way, about us. If you scroll down, you'll find that they have 3 PhD level doctorates on staff, and they've got a scientific advisory board where Dr. Ben Bickman is the director of it. This guy right here swears by this product. In fact, Dr. Bickman just did a yerba mate supplement exerts beneficial tissue-specific effects on mitochondrial efficiency and redox status in healthy adult mice. He just did this in October of last year. This was performed by Dr. Ben Bickman. He has studied the exact same product. The mate came from Unicity in Provo. Dr. Bickman. So there is tons of science around it. Is there anybody that wants to order the system but does not know how to? And if that is you, then type the word help. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show some success stories while I'm at it. Row here. Why is this stuff not blowing up? Oh, I know why. I know why. Okay. This is Row. What is going on? I'm sorry. I'm trying to show Row. There she is. What is going on? Why is it doing that? Okay. It doesn't want me to show Row. I don't understand. Anyway, that is Row. So you do tea, and then fiber in a day. Ash, yes. Okay. Let me address the people that typed help. Okay. So Rhea Lewis, do you know how to get to my home screen? Rhea, I'm talking directly to you right now. Do you know how to get to my home screen? I didn't realize you were typing my name at the same time. I was talking directly to you and you were typing directly to me. Do you know how to get to my home screen on TikTok? Okay. So once you're on my home screen, you will see my bio, and the bio says, I'm a competitive barbecue cook who fought the Grim Reaper and won. This is my story. That is my bio. And that, by the way, that is my bio on every social media platform everywhere. Okay. Whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, I'm the same one. Now, just below that, you will see a link. When you click that link, that's my link tree. It'll pop open 5 or 6 different links. In there, you'll find educational books, my other social media platforms. By the way, guys, give me a follow on all of my social media platforms. In the event they take TikTok away from us, let's not lose contact, okay? And there it says social media. Give me a follow on all of, anywhere you're at, give me a follow. Now, the very first link in there is the Unicity Feel Great system, okay? And don't do, a lot of people say, I'm going to go, I don't trust this guy, this dude on TikTok. I get it, but here you go. If you go to Amazon and order it, first off, it is not an authorized sale on Amazon, as in Unicity does not authorize the sale of their products there, but it's $249 instead of $159. Okay. It is very expensive on Amazon. Don't do that. Okay. This costs about $5.30 per day. What is your health worth to you? Okay. What questions do we have? Does the protein shake mess with your, does the glucerna protein, I'm not familiar with that, Brooks. And Ash, I hope I've been, yeah, I think I answered you, Ash. Yes, you do tea, and then a fiber. And Rhea, are you in a good place? Hi, Patty. How are you, Patty? What questions do we have, if any, folks? Does anybody have any questions at all? I see over on it looks like The Instagram live ended. Blood pressure still down 136 over 83. That is awesome, Patty. I love that. What was it before, Patty? What would your blood pressure have been like before? That's what I did wrong. I know what I did wrong. Let me show some images. I was double clicking. I don't need to double click. That is row before and after. Row had an A1C that was over 14%. It's now 5.9%. Let me see. I don't know if Tanya is still in here or not. Michelle, that's a pretty amazing transition. 157 over 95 before. And then I found this system and has lowered it over the past 3 months. And how do you feel, Patty? How do you feel? This is Michelle. Look at that. That's 7 months apart. That doesn't even look like the same woman, right? Look at that. This is Celeste. What an amazing transformation there as well. Again, doesn't even look like the same woman. Tanya. That was 3 months apart. Tanya's actually got another, 7 months on it since this picture. My mother. What questions have we got? Does anybody have any questions for me? It's been a pretty quiet live stream. I like interaction. Post site name, please. User less. Do you know how to get to my my home tree? My home screen on TikTok. User less is more. Do you know how to get to my home screen on TikTok? Yes or no? Let's see. We could also do this if you wanted. This might be easier. Let's go like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do for you, then, user, I will do this right here. Bear with me. Okay, so here you go. There is a screenshot. That is a QR code. That QR code will take you to my link. That is the link right there. If you wanted to just take a screenshot and manually type that link in there. If you're on any of these, give me a follow on those. You can search at The Real Jim BBQ or The Healthy Pitmaster on all of them. So I'll count down from 5. I'll count down from 5. So take a screenshot. I'll count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Was that helpful? Was that helpful? User less is more. I like that, by the way. Okay. Is there anybody else that wants to order the system but does not know how to? If you want to order the system and you don't know how to, type the word help and I will drop everything and help you. Or does anybody have any questions? You are welcome, Les. By the way, if you use that link in there, you go, it's the Feel Great system. When you go there, I will be personally sending you a text to help you navigate your way. So I'm not there to try and bother you or anything like that. I've just had amazing success on it. I'm reasonably knowledgeable with the products. I like to help people. I've been very fortunate. I've had an amazing ride on this product, and I like telling people all about it. So I'm going to be reaching out to you to just be your wingman through your new journey. So when I reach out to you, know that's personally coming from me. It's not some service or something like that. Okay. What questions, folks, if any? Or is there, let me ask the one big one. Is there anybody that wants to order the system but does not know how to? If you want to order the system, type the word help, and I will address you directly. Otherwise, it got pretty quiet. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the live stream. Ash, thank you, by the way, for the likes. Ash, are you on the system? I see you over there tapping the like screen, Ash. Thank you very much. Are you on the system, Ash? Boy, it got really quiet. Okay. What's keeping you back, Ash? You say you'd like to get it. What's holding you back? I believe you've been following me for a while, right? Mostly the cost. You ready for this one? How much do you think it costs? Do you have diabetes, Ash? I guess I should ask that question first. Do you have diabetes? Okay. Do you know how much it costs to have diabetes? And I actually have a hard number for this. It was published in January of this year. It is the number that the Centers for Disease Control is now using. So it's a very accurate number. Do you have any idea what it costs to have diabetes? Take a guess. What do you think it costs per month to have diabetes? And anybody, I'm throwing this out. We got 27 people listening right now. I love throwing out trivia. So everybody that's in here right now, everybody, this question's out to everybody. What do you think it costs to have diabetes per month? Per month. Same thing out here. $200 per month, Java. Okay. Suzanne says $1,200. $500. Okay. Well, you got the dollar sign on the other end. Can I assume 8983 that you are overseas? User less is more. They don't, but there are other ways around that. So yes, they do accept PayPal, and PayPal will allow you, with approved credit, to break your payments into two. And then also, if you're not familiar with Klarna, I guess is a website that is able to be purchased through as well. And Klarna, I think, can make it into 4 payment plans. So there is Klarna, if you're familiar with that. I've never used Klarna myself, but I've had a number of people who have, and it's kind of a big deal. So they can break it into 4 payments. 500. Okay. I've got one big number in my head. I want to break it out into, let's see. Okay, ready? I'm going to take you to the Centers for Disease Control website. There we go. Ready? So, diabetes fast facts. This is from the Centers for Disease Control. Make sure that I've got their page up as well. Centers for Disease Control, CDC, diabetes fast facts. You can just type diabetes fast facts and CDC, and it'll show you this. About 38 million people in the U.S. have diabetes. 1 in 5 don't know it. 98 million are pre-diabetic. 98 million adults. So that's more than 1 in 3 have pre-diabetes, and 8 out of 10 of them don't know it. Type 2 diabetes accounts for approximately 90 to 95%. Now, just because 90 to 95% is about 34 to 36 million. So type 1 diabetes makes up about 2 to 4 million of the entire population. Everybody else is type 2. Well, there are type 1.5 and there is MODY, some rare instances, right? But by and large, 34 to 36 million Americans are type 2. When you add that to the 98 million, that's like 132 to 134 million people are either pre-diabetic or type 2, which is fully reversible. Now, and that's per their own numbers, right? Medical costs and lost work and wages for people with diagnosed diabetes total $413 billion annually. And I was like, man, that is a huge number. Where do we get that from? Well, the Centers for Disease Control used this study right here, January 1st, 2024. This puppy it's still hot off the press, right? Now, the total estimated cost of diabetes in the U.S. in 2022 was $412.9 billion. There's the 413 that they used, including $306.6 billion in direct medical costs and $106.3 billion in indirect costs attributable to diabetes. Okay, here's some fascinating numbers. For cost categories analyzed, care for people diagnosed with diabetes accounts for 1 in 4 healthcare dollars in the U.S. 1 in 4, that's ridiculous. 61% of which are attributable to diabetes. It is a big business. Now, on average, here's the answer, by the way. On average, people with diabetes incur annual medical expenditures of $19,736, of which approximately $12,022 is attributable to diabetes. So the answer to the question, $12,022 annually, that's $1,002 per month, right? 19,706 is the overall cost that it takes to have it. So this is direct diabetes, $1,000 per month, but that is the direct and the indirect. That number is $1,644 per month. It costs you almost $1,650 a month to have diabetes. That is a study that the Centers for Disease Control is currently citing for their $413 billion. Okay? So, in addition to, let's just keep going down this rabbit hole, because this is what I do. I go down the rabbit hole. What about this one here? How much money? Here we go. I'm going to do this. I'm trying not to show this yet. Here's another trivia question. How much money, what is the worldwide revenue of the pharmaceutical, the global pharmaceutical revenue? What was that last year? Anybody want to take a guess at what the pharmaceutical industry made last year in sales, their overall revenue? Anybody want to take a guess at that number? Trillions? Okay. Anybody else? I see one answer, trillions. Anybody else? Nobody else? Okay. Well, here's a couple. This one, here's your website, jheor.org. Global increase in diabetes prevalence imposes a substantial health and economic burden. The increase in global health expenditure due to diabetes has grown from US $232 billion in 2007 to US $966 billion in 2021. Basically $1 trillion in 2021. I'd be willing to bet that it's over $1 trillion now in 2024 for adults aged 20 to 79. That represents a 316% increase over 15 years. Now, directly to answer my question, what is the revenue of the worldwide pharmaceutical market from 2001 to 2023? Well, it started in 2001 at $390 billion, and you can just see that steady increase. Last year, $1.607 trillion. $1.607 trillion. Now, if we were to take $1.607 trillion, let's just wrap our minds around that. Let's just say, hey, let's just take the global pharmaceutical revenue and let's make it a country. Okay, it is its own country now. If we did that, it would be the 14th richest country on earth. It would be richer than Mexico, the global pharmaceutical revenue. If we just took that 1.607 and made that the gross domestic product of a country, it would be the 14th richest. And that in mind, we would, of course, be taking from a lot of the other 13 countries that were ranked above. So it would actually probably be higher. But just if we were to just snapshot that and plug it in, it would be the 14th richest country on earth. If you earned $1 per second, every second of the day, so $1 a second, every second of a minute, every minute of an hour, every hour of a day, you would earn $86,400 per day. And I think anybody would be like, yeah, I'll take that, right? $86,400 per day. It would take you about 11 days to become a millionaire. Take you about 30 years to become a billionaire. I mean, the jump from millionaire to billion, 11 days at that rate to become a millionaire. It would take you a little over 30 years at that rate. $86,000 per day would take you over 30 years to get to a billionaire. That's how much money a billion is. Do you know how long it would take you to get to $1.607 trillion? A little over 50,000 years. If you earned 86 grand a day, it would take you over 50,000 years to get to $1.607 trillion. That's what they made last year. I would argue that this is a business. They're not interested in finding cures at all. In fact, Goldman Sachs did a biotech research report where they asked, what is the sustainability of business when we find cures? And they looked at Gilead Science, who developed that hepatitis C treatment that has cure rates in the 90% range. So people who took that hep C treatment, 90% of them got cured. Gilead Science, their revenue went from $12.5 billion in 2015 to $4 billion in 2018. They went down by 70%, 68% in 4 years. If every single pharmaceutical company didn't take note of that, they don't want to lose 70% in their revenue. They want you as a customer. There's the question. Do they want you are they looking for customers or cures? My next question to the audience, are they looking for customers or cures? And so, Ash, I asked the question. It costs $159. That's $5.30 per day. Is the Feel Great system the expensive part? And what if that $5.30 could unplug you from that global machine that's $1.607 trillion? Would you perceive it as being expensive at that point? Ash, are you still here? Are you still listening to me? If that could, and the company doesn't guarantee anybody's coming off meds. That's a ridiculous claim, but a lot of people do. And if it could unplug you from that, global pharmaceutical, you're a dollar bill in a cash register. If you don't feel that way, I mean, good on you. But what if it could unplug you? What if it did that? Would the $5.30 be expensive? That's what it costs per day. What I would argue is that you can't go through a drive-through. This info just blows me away, right? 8983. It does, right? And I like to point to fact, right? And so everything that I've been showing, I backed up with, I'm not just making these numbers up, right? It's not all expensive, right, Ash? So $5.30. Is your body worth $5 a day? What do you put $5 a day into? What is your health worth? And are you getting better? Better yet, I don't know what you spend on your diabetes per month, but the Centers for Disease Control is quoting a research paper that says it costs $1,000 a month to have diabetes, $1,700 a month to have diabetes and all of the other stuff that's associated with diabetes. 20 grand per year. That's the price of a freaking car. I mean, that's a down payment on a home. If you took that 20 grand, I mean, you could buy houses in 5 years, right? In certain markets, you could save up that for 5 years and buy a house. I think that's expensive. Now, if It costs you, I mean, $160, $159 a month, 160, right? $1,800 a year would be this. I think that's cheap, and it works. That's the most important thing. The medications that you are currently putting into your body, do they work? Are they actually making you better? Are the medications that you are currently putting into your body, are they actually actively working to reverse problems? Are they actually actively working to get you off of medications? Are they making you better? Yes or no? That's to everybody listening to me right now. Are you getting better for your $1,600 a month? Are you getting better for your $1,600 a month, or are you just writing checks? Ash, why wouldn't you give these guys 90 days? Give these guys 90 days. Go to Klarna. Go to Klarna, use Klarna, go to PayPal, do whatever it takes. Give them 90 days. If it does, here's the other thing. If it doesn't work, ask for a refund. They'll give you all the money back. What if it does work? What if it does work? What if 90 days from now, you're one of these people that's coming to me going, Jim, I can't believe it took me so long. Because who's on the system? If you're on the system right now and you're listening to me, type I am. Or type I on it. If you're on the system right now, and type on it. I'm curious if there's anybody that's listening to me that's on the system. I don't recognize any of the names. I kind of recognize Ash. Angelica Rodriguez, I recognize you. Java's on it. Benjamin's on it. Okay, Java, Benjamin, is your money well spent on the system? Yes or no? Is your money well spent? Do you feel like you're getting your bang for your buck? And who are your coaches? I have not seen you in my live streams before. By the way, YouTube, Twitch, I see you guys there. Thank you. I thank you for sticking around for my live stream. What did you mix yours with? Water. My tea goes with water. Are you talking about the drink that I'm drinking right now? Benjamin Street, best health investment I ever made. Boom. Benjamin, who's your sponsor? Whose link did you use when you signed up? Yes, your money is worth it right now. Wendy Farmer. I don't know Wendy. Grid. Angelica Grid. I don't understand that. Java says, yes, went to the doctor last week and my A1C went from 8.1 to 6.1, lost 24 pounds. And Java, were you, Java, Benjamin, Angelica, everybody that's on it, were you a skeptic when you were watching? And I don't think any of you used my link. How are you, Miss Angelica? None of you used my link, so you're not directly benefiting me at all, right? I don't think. I don't think there's anybody that used my link that's currently watching this live stream. Doesn't say a whole lot for me, does it? All of my people left me. Ooh, Natalie's girl, how are you? I see you in here. Oh, no, you're gone. Yeah, are you here? Yeah, there you are. How are you, Natalie's girl? What is in your bottle right now? It looks different. I watched it for 3 weeks. Not a skeptic after listening to content. There you go, Java. How are you, Natalie's girl? Okay, so what's in my bottle? This is a mixture. You got to get a pen and paper handy. And Natalie's girl, I shared this mixture with with Brittany and a number of other people in Provo, and Brittany will consent. This is absolutely ridiculously good. Okay, I've modified it a little bit since then, so you might want a pen and paper too. So I was watching with Michelle and Carrie last night. Oh, is that who you are? Been on the system for 3 months. Java, who's your coach? Who did you sign up under? And April's hippie. Are you on the system right now? Michelle and Carrie are rock stars, absolute rock stars. Okay, so here we go. While I'm waiting for some answers, this mixture, it started off with somebody asked about reishi coffee earlier, mushroom coffee. So Unicity makes, Dana, she's a beast, right? She's incredible. She's sharp. Can't speak highly enough about her. Okay, so reishi coffee, it's a mushroom-based coffee. Are you, April? Well, whose link are you using? Now you got my curiosity. Okay, so Unicity makes a copy called FX. Let me just get it. I'll show you right now. It's called FX. Okay, it is a mushroom-based, they call it bio reishi. It's a reishi coffee, which is a mushroom-based coffee. And then they also make a flavor of Unimate that's not really that popular. They call it black. Okay, I would not order black for your kid. But Unimate black, it tastes like black coffee. Yes, it does have actual coffee in it, Natalie. So the Unimate black actually tastes like, it's flavored with coffee. So it tastes like black coffee. Not very popular. Most of us fat diabetics like sugar in our coffee. We're not big fans of black coffee, most of us. So it's not been the most popular. And then Dr. Bickman years ago helped Unicity develop this. It's called Unimate Fuel. And it's the same Unimate, but it's infused with MCT oil, medium chain triglycerides. Interestingly enough, this is also infused with MCT oil as well, the bio-reishi coffee. So what I did was I put all three of them together, and it tastes a lot like a Frappuccino. And Trent asked me one time, Trent goes, I was telling Brittany about it, Trent was there, and he kind of put his pen down. He looked up at me and he goes, Jim, is that a $10 drink? I was like, I think it is a $10 drink, yeah. I never really thought about it like that, but yeah, it's not my cheapest concoction, but I love it. I have one every day. So I took that, and then that was what I showed them in Provo. Now, after, and it's weird to have Trent look at me like that, like, Jim. Tiave, if you guys ever follow Tiave, I don't know if it follows Tiave Matagi, but Tiave was there at the same table, and he looked at me and was like, I'm going to have to try that, Jim. And he comes back to me like an hour later, and he's like, dude, that drink is ridiculous. That's so good. And then that got Brittany on that blending. What can we blend this stuff with? But I got home, and I decided that I bought some Celtic salt, and I wanted to take in more Celtic salt every day because we need to increase our electrolytes, and Celtic salt's a great way to do it. It's also great for magnesium. So I added about a half teaspoon of Celtic salt to the same mixture. Salted caramel, why not add a little more salt? So I did that, added a little bit of Celtic salt to it. And then I was watching some TikTok. I mean, shoot, I still watch a lot of TikTok, that my feed is pretty well stuck on metabolic health. All I get is one person after the other talking about fixing their guts. And somebody was talking about turmeric coffee. And I was like, okay. So I bought some instant ground turmeric coffee. And so to a 1 liter bottle, the new recipe that I've been on now for about a month and a half, and I love, is a tablespoon. So it's 1 liter of water, which, by the way, this is the bigger bottle. Okay. This is the bigger bottle. It's not the one that you get with the kit. So you're going to need a 1 liter bottle. So 1 liter bottle, I add water, and it's filtered water. And then I add a tablespoon of that turmeric coffee, and then I add about a half teaspoon of Celtic salt, And then I add the black Unimate, the salted caramel Unimate fuel, and then the FX. And it is ridiculous. It is so good. It tastes like a creamy Frappuccino. And I put it in, I make it at night. I put it in the fridge overnight, so it is kind of chilled when I drink it. My first drink, I always drink a lemon Unimate. I drink that hot every day. That's the way I start my day, is 24 ounces of lemon Unimate in a mug, hot. Okay, Natalie, it's ridiculous, right? I've watched some of her lives. Great info. Let's see. This is so funny to me. I rarely mix things, but you know what is so good? In our Oasis collagen to lemon Unimate, that is ridiculous good. Yes. So is that what you were going to say is so good, Natalie? So we're sitting there, and I think that little exercise got Brittany kind of racing. And I'm going to go ahead and end this. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream over here, YouTube and Twitch. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. No, I won't. I'll keep it up. Why not? We got some viewers on YouTube and Twitch still. Feel free to comment in the comment section, and I can see your comments. So comment on YouTube, comment on Twitch. I'll respond to you. Okay, so I'm not sure. So that got Brittany kind of going. And by the way, Brittany is Natalie's sponsor. Natalie would have used Brittany's link. And so that got her going. And so next thing you know, she takes Oasis and the salted caramel, and she swears that thing is ridiculously good. And now she's got my wife, Amanda, doing the Oasis and the salted caramel. That's how it works. Brittany has now created a monster in my house, using up all of my salted caramel with all of the Oasis. I'm not sure if I could take all of those things at the same time. Where do you order the big bottle, Jim? I can't find it. It's not there. It's not there. They come up every now and then on the website, and when they are, be quick. Be quick to get them. They're not available right now. Java, you get it from the same website. If you're a member, shop.unicity.com. Let's see. Is there anybody, shop.unicity.com. You are aging backwards, Natalie. What are you, like 30, 32 years old, Natalie? Me too. People say all the time that I look like I'm 24. Really? You know what? I think I knew that, but I didn't believe it. 1578. What am I drinking? I just gave that recipe. You ready? I'm drinking a blend of Unimate fuel, coffee, Celtic salt, and Bioreishi mushroom-based coffee. That's quite the blend. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I've enjoyed the conversation. Thank you, Natalie. Is there anybody that wants to order the system but does not know how to? And if that is you, then type the word help, and I will drop everything to help you out. Is there anybody that wants to order the system but doesn't know how to? And if that is you, then type the word help, and I will help. I will drop everything and help you out. Also, the Unimate is the best. It is, isn't it? I'm going to be going live tomorrow morning at Ash, You Are Welcome. Give this thing a shot. You see everybody talking about this, Ash. It costs you $1,000 a month to be sick. It costs you $1,600 a month to be sick. Stop being sick. Start changing it. $159 is pretty cheap. It seems like it's upfront, pretty painful, but it's not. It's not. Not when you're others on the other side looking back. You're going, that's the best money. You've seen some people in here already say that's the best money they ever spent. Natalie's girl, Ash, this is the best decision you'll ever make, I promise. And actually, you don't need to make that promise, Natalie, because Unicity does. If you're, they do promise, and if you're not happy, get your money back. Oh, thank you, Natalie. You are as well. You are as well. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Don't hesitate to reach out to me if you are on the fence and you want to have a private conversation or a direct message conversation. I'll do that too. Send me a message. There's tons of ways to. Let me do this real quick. I'm going to put up a little QR code really quick. So there we go. If you'd like, go ahead and I'll count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know why I counted down, so I'll just keep it up there for a little while. But if you'd like, you can scan that QR code and it will take you to my link tree. Definitely find me on all of those other platforms. You can always find me as The Healthy Pitmaster or at The Real Jim BBQ on all of the major social media platforms. And give me a follow on those. Now, I'm going to be doing a live stream tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So 8 a.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern. And in that live stream, I'm definitely going to be more sticking to kind of not a script, but a tight agenda. I want to just really kind of go through the system. If you have any questions, come to that. I will be very, very, very thorough. I always like to point out science, the research behind these products. So it'll be at 9 o'clock Mountain Standard. So that's 8 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern. On all of that live stream will be going across all of my social media platforms simultaneously. So if you want to watch it on Facebook, or you want to watch it on YouTube, or you want to watch it on something, or if you have friends or family, here's another one for you. If you are on the system, Stephen, or anybody else that's in here that's on the system, Java, if you're saying, hey, man, I've got a cousin who could benefit from this, and maybe that cousin's not on TikTok. Well, at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, my YouTube, my Facebook, my Twitter, all of them, I'll be live on all of them at the same exact time. It'll be the exact same live feed. Share this with them. Say, hey, man, there's this dude that's going to talk about this thing that could benefit you. And then if you're on the system, like Steven, Java, any of you guys, I don't know if you're distributors or just users or what, but you have a link and you can get a $10 product. In the States, it's $10. It's a little bit different by country, but approximately $10 US in product credit every time somebody that you refer orders the product. So Ash, if you want to lower the price that you pay monthly, refer the product out, and it'll lower every single time you order, or every single time they order, it will reduce your price by $10. And if you don't know how to talk about the product, which I'm not surprised that you don't, send them to my live stream tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on every major social media platform, right? Every single one of them. And you can find it. Let me put that back up here. Actually, if you go to my link tree, I'll do this real quick. If you go to my link tree, take a screenshot of that. If you go to my link tree, this is what it looks like. Okay, you'll see my ugly mug right there. You'll see the Feel Great system. That's where you order educational books, but then social media platforms. Click on the Healthy Pitmaster. Okay, you'll find me. I'm not going to be live on Clapper. They don't let me do it yet, but Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I won't be on LinkedIn. They don't let me do it yet. Mixcloud, I'll be on. Rumble, Threads, TikTok, Twitch, X, YouTube. I'll be on all of those. So give me a follow on those. And if you just click on that, it'll tell you, like, there's the Facebook page. Andy, go ahead, brother. What do you got? What's up, Andy? Is this I see Andy. Is this my Andy from my barbecue days, Andy? No, okay. What's your question, though, Andy? I have a guy that used to sponsor me with meat products. He was a good friend of mine. His name is Andy. And sometimes old friends pop into my live streams. It's kind of weird. What's your question, Andy? We'll stick around for a moment while I wait for that. What's up, spicy lady? I'm drinking my little coffee mix. How are you? That is BioRishi FX, black salted caramel, a splash of some instant coffee, and a half teaspoon of Celtic salt. Ro has the recipe, spicy lady. Are you ready to jump in? I understand you were on the call on Thursday, spicy lady. What happened with a person that their sugar drops? How can they get through a 16-hour fast? Andy, are you medicated? Are you currently medicated for your blood sugar? So, spicy lady, I was asking the question. I think you were on the Thursday call. I'm excited at the idea of your joining the team. So, if Ro hasn't expressed that, I'm excited as well. So, Andy, if your blood sugar starts dropping really low, is it because the fiber, or is it because you're maybe overly medicated? Maybe if your blood sugar starts dropping down like that, maybe you want to have a conversation with your doctor and say, hey, 1 pill a day, I might be ready to not take any pills a day. Might be a pretty good conversation to have. That is the conversation most people who listen to me are eager to have. They are waiting for the day that they can go and ask their doctor, do I need to take this crap anymore? You might be there. Andy, it might be time to have that conversation. How many people? We've got 14 people still listening to me. If you are still on medications, how many of you want to get to where Andy's seemingly at right now? A place where you can say, hey, doc, I don't think I need to take this anymore. What do you think? That's the dream. That's the end stage, right? That's where we want to get to. I think you're there, Andy. Have a conversation with your doc. I hope that just put a big old smile on your face. Andy, are you on product? Are you taking the product? Sometimes I wonder if TikTok puts a big old lag between things. Are you on the, Andy, I don't know if you heard that question or not. Are you on the protocol? Are you taking the product? Are you using the product? The field grade system? All right, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. It got quiet on me. The sugar issue is with my girlfriend. Oh, Misty. She's on protocol, right? Same thing. Same thing. Have her have a conversation. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm on. Okay, you're on it. Who is Misty? Who is your guys' sponsor, Andy? Who's your sponsor? Who did you sign up under? She's not on protocol. Who is your sponsor, Andy? Cows and Cotton, Michelle? Okay, get with Michelle. You've got one of the most vocal coaches on the planet. Okay, call Michelle. Have you spoke with Michelle yet? Could she do the products without doing the fast? Ash, you certainly could. But here's the deal: is Michelle is this is the advantage to having a coach. Okay, is when you do sign up with somebody, and I know Michelle knows her stuff. I almost said another word there. I don't think TikTok would like, but she knows her stuff. And if need be, we can set up a private meeting between you and me and Michelle together, and we can have a conversation that way. But Andy, reach out to Michelle, touch base with her, and let's get a little bit more information there. Okay. I'd like to know a little bit more about that situation. That's the beauty of having a coach, is your coach gets to know you. Okay. And Ash, that's the real advantage to having a coach. And Andy has a wonderful coach. Michelle is an absolute rock star. Absolute rock star. I'm so incredibly proud of Michelle, day in, day out. I'm so incredibly proud of Michelle. This, by the way, is Michelle. Let me just pull up a picture of Michelle real quick. This is Andy's coach, Michelle. That's her before and after. That is 7 months apart. If that's not just absolutely ridiculous, I mean, come on. Come on. So, and Andy, I don't know what you know about the way that this thing works, but Michelle's in my organization. And so if Michelle needs, if she needs a coach for your problem, there I am. So we can put together a call, a 3-way call or something between us if you'd like. So, yep, they're got a great line. So cool. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Anybody has any questions, send me a message. Natalie, if you're still in here, thank you, Natalie. You're an absolute rock star. Thanks for gracing my live stream. Okay, guys, everybody have a wonderful day, and we will talk at you later. You know what? Come to my live stream tomorrow, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and invite your friends and family that need the system. Andy, if you've got friends and family that need to be on the system or that you think they could benefit, send them to my live stream tomorrow. I'm going to put together a lot of evidence that'll show them how it can help. Okay. So we'll talk to you later, guys.